team ban.
G'day and welcome to the grand final
Radiant
of the
team
Eastern European TI11 qualifiers.
Dire team
Outsiders versus BetBoomTeam. It is a best of 5. Outsiders have come all the way through in the upper bracket, 2-0ing all their opponents. BetBoomTeam has had a bit more of a rough trip through the tournament. They did make it through initially in the upper bracket, but then knocked down to the lower bracket by Na'Vi. Crawled their way back through the lower bracket and then have claimed their spot in the upper bracket by knocking out Na'Vi in a convincing 2-0. So both teams coming into this final best of 5 off of 2-0s. They're certainly looking to claim their position in the main event of, in the group stage at least, of TI. Initial picks and bans. So Outsiders getting rid of the Batrider and the Visage. So taking no chances, Outsiders, with Dahak's Visage. Immediately removing that from the pool, saying, you know what, we're rating that as being fairly strong, and we don't want to deal with that in this game at least. BetBoom been at the Lina and Marcy. Lina from the mid lane, GPK in particular, has been dominant on this hero. So the ability of that hero to go either magical or physical damage build, depending on what the game needs, and to scale well, quick farming of lanes and just bodying of opposition heroes on a mid lane makes it a really good pick. So it's been banned out along with the Marcy. Outsiders open up with the Undying. Personally, I haven't been a huge fan of the Undying, but Tombstone is really strong, and that burst heal provided from the Soul Rip is a good way to keep your front liner in the fight and up and healthy. Enigma and Death Prophet are the immediate turn picks from BetBoom. So Enigma left through in that first set of bans, and in big games, in big matches, you want big spells. And the Enigma is one way that you can really put the pressure on Outsiders to perform in this game one. When there's a first phase Enigma pick, the thought always is this a support Enigma? Is it going to end up as a core? It really does depend on what picks come out from Outsiders in the next part of the draft. Is there a strong counter to the Enigma, like a Venge swap, or another way to get through that through a BKB black hole? Faceless Void ulti on top normally does the job as well. Or do Outsiders just ignore the pick and it probably will end up being a core? Death Prophet grabbed as well. Very strong for pushing the towers and taking Roshan with the Ghosts. And combines well with an Enigma. Even if you don't get a full black hole duration off, the follow-up from the Crypt Swarm and Silence on top will ensure that those heroes, even after they get out of the black hole, they're not going to be particularly healthy, and they may be not casting any spells either. Second round of bans. Kunkka, Faceless Void. Outsiders actually taking out the Faceless Void themselves. They're removing one ability to deal with the Chronosphere. BetBoom getting rid of the Doom. Another way to deal with a BKB black hole. But also just a good all-round hero that DM has been picking up quite a lot. Dawnbreaker, the global potential to farm one side and connect with your team, and also early connections, during the laning stage from that ultimate does make it quite strong. And the mobility in items to either go into utility with a halberd or go for more damage oriented, like we saw with the last Dawnbreaker pick in the lower bracket final, that was more Desolator damage orientated.
5 seconds remaining.
Puck is the last second round ban for Outsiders. And BetBoomTeam just waiting on their last second round ban here. Puck taken out, very good against the Quap, locking down a highly mobile hero. And generally pretty elusive around the map, and provides good setup for a black hole.
Radiant team pick.
DK taken out. They're not wanting to have that hard stun from the off-lane blink stun that can set up with other heroes like Scarith Mage to provide a huge amount of damage in a burst capacity, particularly in that ganking sort of mid-game. BetBoom will go for the Chen. Now, this is quite interesting. The Chen has made it through 10 bans and 4 picks, and the Chen was still available. So Chen will be grabbed. Most likely will be run in the 5 position by Seneko. And if we actually start to look at the draft of BetBoom, it's a bit scary. You've got this push strat that's not really all in, and that's the best push strat. If you've got a push strat that can push early, but you're not all in on it, then that's really beneficial because you've got these Eidolons from the Enigma, you've got the Exorcism Ghost, and of course the Chen heals just to sustain them in these early pushes. But if you don't get an early roll on and you don't finish the game fast, you know, Enigma, one of the strongest late game heroes, Death Prophet, very strong late game as well. You get some items on Death Prophet and she scales really well.
Phantom Assassin.
Outsiders, in return to the Chen, decide to grab the Shadow Shaman, being picked up more and more later on in these qualifiers. For that consistent lockdown, Hex plus the Shackles, and also the pushing potential that a Shaman brings. So Undying with the Tombstone and the Wards, that's a lot to deal with. You think about walking up to a tower, you preemptively drop the Wards, preemptively drop the Tombstone. How do you actually get into that fight as BetBoom? It's pretty rough getting in. Phantom Assassin will be the 4th pick from Outsiders. I think it's a bit of a risky pick as the PA, particularly when you see BetBoom's draft at the moment. BetBoom have shown they do want to push early and take map control. The PA can't really fight early against these heroes. He's going to struggle, particularly with the Chen heals coming out and that bonus armor from the Divine Favor. He's going to need to have a Desolator, a BKB, and maybe 1+1 more item on top before he can really start to make an impact. Assuming he goes for the Battle Fury first as well, just to increase his farm.
Radiant team battle.
Earth Spirit.
So Earth Spirit, very good initiation now for BetBoom. Catch and Lockdown, Silence, follow-up. So with a push draft, you generally don't want to take 5v5 fights. If you're fighting around a tower, it's always advantageous to the team who's defending. So if you can get yourself a pick with this Earth Spirit, and probably the final pick of BetBoom as well, although it's probably going to be their POS 1 last. You know, and that tower push becomes so much easier. You don't want to have to force a tower down. You'd rather just be able to take a tower with the Eidolons, the Chen Creeps, and the Exorcism, rather than have to fight around that tower. So having a little bit of catch on your team, diversifying what spells you have on BetBoom, quite a good pick there for the Earth Spirit. And good at punishing mobile mid-heroes such as the Queen of Pain. Getting the Silence plus the Magnetize can do a lot of damage. You get a +1 with an Earth Spirit going in on the Queen of Pain, and it's going to hurt a lot. Not to be underestimated that there are now 2 sources of silence down the side of BetBoom, so potentially early BKBs, or at least ways to dispel that silence, perhaps a Yules, maybe a Lotus Orb on the Undying to try and save one of his cores from that silence. Outsiders' final 2 bans will be the Ursa and the Bloodseeker. BetBoom team will decide to take out the Kunkka and the Timbersaw, recognizing that they are still looking for their off-lane pick. The Shaman Undying most certainly being those supports. Primal Beast will be that last offlaner for DM in that POS 3 position, so priority farm for him. And should get a fairly quick BKB, even a blink if he wants one, to be able to make an impact in these fights. Now, Outsiders definitely needed a fighting POS 3, certainly not a farming POS 3, to try and stem the flow that BetBoom is bringing here. Now, the question is, final question here for BetBoom is, do they have an all-in push strat here? No, they go a little bit or each way. The Troll is that late game insurance. So with Noticed, Lal, Roger, and Seneko, they can apply the early pressure and make the space for this Troll Warlord played by Dahak to farm up in the back. Meanwhile, Outsiders have got to try and endure that early pressure and give Ramses time to get online with the PA. Will be a DM Primal Beast. Yamich will be taking the Shadow Shaman in the 4 position, and it will be the 5 Undying for Zakota. 5 Undying, probably want to get the Holy Locket, be able to heal a little bit more, prioritize getting the Tombstone leveled up so that you can counter some of these pushes, drop that Tombstone down and hope that it's enough to dissuade BetBoom coming in. But both teams sort of have the same idea here. They both got a core that wants to get a Battle Fury, that wants to sit back and farm for a good, 25-30 minutes until they come online with a BKB and maybe 1 or 2 other items. So both teams running a similar draft, and it's really going to come down to who is going to execute that draft better. Okay, so both teams moving out with the level 1 smokes, trying to get that early ward vision down, enable them to see some early rotations, but also help out their mid laner around the runes, water and initial power runes that will spawn. The Outsiders heading to the top lane. BetBoom more heading down the middle. GPK and Tsuneko will almost shake hands in the middle lane there. BetBoom will decide to drop a ward on their top river, provide a little bit of vision, and the other one will be down, potentially sniping some couriers on this bottom lane. Roger not having any part of movements at the moment. Will just be in the bottom lane with the boots, potentially trying to scout out any movements. But Outsiders, they're all on the top side.
30 seconds to
apart from GPK, who's still hanging over their side of the river. That secondary ward will go down on that top ramp. Quite an unusual level 1 ward spot. Up high in this jungle, potentially looking to snipe some couriers as well. So both off lanes looking to try and get rid of those couriers, maybe even sniping before the resources come out for the lanes. Any additional regen.
The battle begins.
Also gives them a good heads up for where heroes will initially be going. So they see, for instance, that Notice did actually head top. They'll have the intel that there is an Enigma going to the top lane, and will they switch up their lanes because of that? It looks like they are trying to. Quite sure where everyone's. Yeah, DM is running bottom, so they're going to try and mix up those lanes. So for the time being, GPK will be in the mid lane playing the Quap and be up against Lal on the Death Prophet for BetBoom. In the top lane, it looks like DM's headed back top. A little bit of a contest in the jungle at the moment. Notice trying to walk his way back through. Yamich scouts him out. So musical lanes at the moment. Tsuneko, the Chen, and Zakota Undying at the top, getting a little bit of last hits if they wish at the moment, but soon joined by DM in this top lane. The musical lanes look like they will settle down, and Yamich making his way over, maybe trying to get some sort of first blood. But TP coming to the bottom side. Zakota will TP the way down. So with the TPs, they are sealing what lanes they're going to have. So Ramses on the bottom lane, PA supported by Zakota on the Undying. Roger will be here with the Earth Spirit, laning with the Enigma being played by Noticed. And Dahak will find himself eventually in this top lane on the Troll. Wave being pushed in under the tower to begin with. So lots of early pressure here. DM wants to try and grab that creep wave, but doesn't quite get it. So the creeps will remain underneath the tower. Early uproar, lots of damage. Look at that. Those attacks coming through. Plus 50 damage from that uproar. You got to be careful attacking this primal beast. Sometimes you just don't want to hit him at all. You know, the temptation is there to try and get a little bit of harass in, but yeah, you hit him and you know he's just going to hit you back even harder. In the mid lane, Lal and Quap Similar 8 and 3 to 6 and 1 at the moment. So similar last hits and denies. Bottles should be coming out at the moment. Yamich just playing around, trying to get a little bit of creep aggro there. Playing around with the neutral creeps, block up some camps. But still no first blood across the map. GPK getting his bottle as well. And both mids, actually, no. Roger rotates in at the 2-minute mark and makes sure he doesn't get a bottle refill. So GPK will just be stuck with those initial charges. And knowing that, Lal put the pressure in. Roll comes in. Is there a blink available? No, there isn't. It's 2 levels in the dagger. And first blood. Going over to BetBoom. Lal just sipping that one up. Excellent rotation there from the Earth Spirit. The DM popping that uproar just to get the additional damage on the creeps. Bottom lane, Notice is in a little bit of trouble. They're diving underneath the tower. Zakota's going to go in and the last hit will go over to Ramses. Kick back under the tower from Roger though, and Zakota will just run in the opposite direction for as long as possible, drawing the attention away, meaning Ramses does get the ranged creep hit, last hit there without any contest. So Roger really making the plays in the early game for BetBoom. Mid lane, GPK now does have a level in that blink, so that greedy 201, pretty standard on the Quap just to try and win the lane. La will commit the Spirit Siphon, but blink away. Root coming out over onto DM. No more roots for Dahak. The Primal Beast will be fine just to walk it off. Constant decays, and actually no level in Tombstone at this point. The Soul Rip plus the decay trying to sort of brute strength that lane a little bit. More constant spells rather than the more powerful long cooldown ability. GPK will this time secure himself a Water Rune plus a shared Tango will be passed over to him. Just a little bit of fun from his support. Roger does miss the roll. In comes the boulder kick. GPK holding onto the blink. He will have enough mana for it and will grab up that other bottle rune. Try a little high five. Top lane. Root coming out over onto the Shaman. The Hawk. If he gets a root here, I think he's dead. There's 2 creeps attacking as well. In comes the Onslaught with the trample damage. The Hawk might actually be in a little bit of trouble with Yamich turning around. He has a lot of damage. The Troll will go down. A trade that Yamich is probably happy to take, and the tip comes out from DM, says, "Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for serving up that carry on the platter." The early Orb of Corrosion plus the Ring of Hell. PA is having a decent start in this bottom lane. You know, it's not really been a 2v2 lane. It's been primarily just the Enigma here, so understandably he's getting a lot out of it. Saying that though, Enigma's done well to get the levels and not be zoned completely back by this Undying. Roger, very short of mana, has 6 magic stick charges. Might try and kick Dakota, pop the sticks and kick Dakota under. Stun. Does he have enough for the kick? Not quite. Would have been a little bit short even if he'd popped those wands. Taneko, 2 levels in the Holy Persuasion and the 1 in Defined Favor. Just keeping this top lane reasonably healthy and protected. Yamich does get the shackles, follow through with the Onslaught. Uproar plus the trample, and Taneko will go down. Just a little bit too much damage coming out from DM. Does stand his ground against the Huck for a little bit, and we'll get a couple more Uproar charges. Hey, I'll tack them away for later. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Troll. Hit me more. Ramses, after getting that Ring of Health, does want to head back into the treads, actually. Yeah, we'll commit in for the treads instead of the phase boots. Treads are being picked up more and more frequently nowadays. Maleficus with the Eidolons hitting Roger. Will connect on the roll. Kicks Ramses back in. Has he got a blink target? He's silenced. Dakota's just waiting off to the side, but the creeps will be there. And he'll blink away. So, all that early farm that Ramses had enabled him to survive in that rotation. And look at him healing back up with the Tango. Even the Inspiration Aura, +3 health regen from this Flag Bearer creep, was doing quite a bit for a while there. Can't underestimate that 3 health regen that the flag bearer brings out. GPK and Lal both now level 6. A blink instantly cancelling that Spirit Siphon whenever it comes out. Quite a good counter. Bit like a Razor, a static link. Pop that link, pop that Spirit Siphon and just blink away. Don't let them get any value out of it. Creeps are hitting on a notice, so we can't really turn here. Level 1 in Tombstone, just to provide the threat at the moment. Roger still hanging off the side with a Clarity running. Wants to try and do something bottom, but it's going to be tough. They might need a level 6 on Enigma, which is still half a level away. And with Dakota body blocking the rolls, then probably not going to have much success unless Lal comes bottom with an Exorcism, level 3 in Spirit Siphon. This is the rotation they probably need to be a little bit worried about. They're going to realize Death Prophet is not mid. The Chen has turned up mid for a little bit of XP. GPK is still sitting here with a TP scroll, looking to try and make a rotation if needed be, but maybe the rotation's actually coming in. There's 4 heroes descending from BetBoom on the mid lane. Dagger comes out in Sineko. Dahak's here as well. Hex over onto the Troll Warlord. Root comes out over onto Yamich. He will be able to walk it away, and it's a lot of wasted time for Lal at the moment. He's still level 6. Meanwhile, GPK is working towards level 8. So, a little bit of a failed rotation there for BetBoom. Outsiders reading the movement and didn't get anything out of it. A couple of stacks in the Dire jungle. Dahak not able to take them just yet. He is thinking of getting into that Battle Fury when he has the gold. Also, stacks will be long gone by then. Bottom lane, noticed, has the black hole available, so they have a possibility to try and get a kill here. I think they want to commit the black hole. Might be a fair few TP rotations. The Quap will definitely come if the black hole is used, assuming they have TP available. Ramses knows there's a bit of threat now and just wants to hang back and dagger the creeps if they get in range. DM pushing these creeps under the tower here to provide maybe a little bit of pressure on Dahak. And GPK this whole time, while the Death Prophet is not in the mid lane, he's just getting a bit more damage on this mid tower. He's leveling up, almost level 8. Level 4 in the dagger, actually maxed it out. And with an Exo, with an Arcane Rune, pop bottom, so low cooldown on this Exorcism. Death does happen to Earth Spirit in the jungle, but this tower will go down easily. And the Exorcism probably even a little bit wasted. Looks like the Eidolons will get the job done either way.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
So bottom tower falls for Outsiders, but that's quite an acceptable loss at this point. They will look to try and get a trade on this top tier 1. It's looking pretty healthy at the moment. GPK has been working on this mid lane. It's down to about 3/4 health. Just been chipping away at it. Exorcism will expire, and right as it happens, Yamich gets with the shackles. Here comes DM with the pulverize, chucking him up and down, and the Sonic Wave. DP just explodes in the river. Blink in, Tombstone put down. Noticed is holding onto a black hole. They will put the dagger out. GPK is very short of mana, giving him some mangoes. DM's chasing through. Has an uproar available and another shackle from Yamich, but it is instantly cancelled from the Earth Spirit. Roger staying off the side, trying to look for a go in at some point. The dagger will take him down. Notice will eventually fall, and really good fight there for the side of Outsiders. Just maximizing. Look at the mana on their heroes. They're all pretty much 0 mana. Kick in on Yamich. Looks like he will go down here with the Crypt Swarm. Lal respawning and getting a little bit of vengeance on that movement. Roger surprisingly tanky with this 1000 HP with the infused raindrops and the magic stick. Will be able to survive through quite a lot of damage. And Outsiders are just going to give up this mid tier 1 with all their resources expended. They know they can't really contest it, and that was without Exorcism. Exorcism is ready to go again, and these tier 1s are dropping for the side of Outsiders. The map positioning, the space for BetBoom is just getting larger and larger. Look at Ramses on this bottom lane. He is out in no man's land. There are 4 heroes of BetBoom on his side of the map, and he's just wandering back under the cover of the blur, hoping that nobody walks down to this bottom lane, predicting where he might have been. Perseverance is done. Over to our net worth, we can actually see that Outsiders, despite losing these early towers, are still leading the net worth. Three out of four of their cores in the top sections. In comes Roger with the roll initiate, silence to follow. There is the connection from the Centaur, Conqueror, and Quap will fall. And that's what happens when you lose these tier 1 towers. Yes, you're currently, leading a little bit at the moment. Got a little bit of a net worth lead, but that net worth lead will start to disappear when you have space. Ramses is gone on kick back in. Tombstone's immediately dropped. There's an exorcism. It's a hasted exorcism. But I think they'll just go back and hit the Tombstone. Make sure that doesn't survive in the fight. DM's in with the uproar and the pulverize. Nothing to cancel it at the moment. Won't quite be enough damage. Roger will roll away and DM's being turned around on uproar to get the slow. But remember, it's still a hasted Lyle with an exorcism. This is a scary death prophet right now. He's got no other mana to work with. Haste will run out. DM blinks in. Looking to get another dagger off. Daggers on daggers from Ramses and GPK at the moment. Seneko being slowed down as well. Roger rolls back in silence. Connects on two. Sonic Wave being wound up. We'll push them all back and we'll blink away. Was that a black hole? There was. Black hole was used. 194 seconds. I just thought I heard it clip for a moment. My ears did not deceive me. So no black hole for another 3 minutes for the time being. So that will give a reasonable amount of space for Ramses to keep farming. But while that whole fight is happening, Dahak was not anywhere near it, and he's a bit closer to this Battle Fury. In fact, maybe he just has the broadsword picked up. Yeah, no, very similar farm actually at the moment between PA and the Troll Warlord. So both will hit that Battle Fury timing reasonably soon, and we'll have to see which team can keep providing the space. T1 Tower did drop for BetBoomTeam on the top lane during that fight, so a little bit of space now for the side of Outsiders on that top jungle. Ramses did commit his TP bottom. That might interest BetBoom, and yeah, they're just beelining at bottom. Roger, he's coming in. He wants to get an initiation. He sees Ramses under the creeps. Will dodge the roll. Ramses steps back, magnetized with the silence and the boulder kick. But it's not going to be enough damage. Reapplying the magnetize. DM, he's charging, but decides to abort the charge. The charge was rolled up and aborted very quickly. Roger, 3 of those Stone Remnants, even though he's been chucking him out. The tier 2 will fall, so all that was just a little bit of space for that tier 2 to go down. Exorcism, that was once again without Exorcism. The towers of Outsiders are slowly but surely falling, and you know what? This tier 1 mid from BetBoom is still standing strong, providing all the protection they need for this Troll Warlord to keep farming. EPK is going to need a +1 if he wants to, or even a +2 if he wants to go over onto Lyle, but he's walking into the team. DM might spot him out. But DM's a little more interested in the jungle creeps at the moment. He's working towards a BKB, getting reasonably close to it. Noticed, has the completed Wraith Pact and Urn, looking to get a Blink Dagger now. The code of this 5 Undying with no way to farm, not maxing out the decay, is just going to be very, very poor this entire game. Sitting on 1500 net worth, just the brown boots roll. Smoke gets the vision down. Roshan is spotted. Yamich is up on the high ground. He's deciding there's a little bit too much action around here. I might TP home, but by the time he runs back out, this Roche, it might be over. He hasn't got Mass Serpent Ward, so he wouldn't be that much of use, but with this Wraith Pact and the Troll Warlord, all of the creeps, the Eidolons tanking, the Roshan will fall. The first Aegis going over to BetBoom. Lyle will pick it up. And for the next 5 minutes, this DP is going to be pretty untouchable. I mean, to blow up DP once, Outsiders used all of their spells. To kill him twice is going to be very difficult. And a DP without Exorcism and without Aegis was taking tier 2s. So with Exorcism, with Aegis, Outsiders, they don't really want to fight yet. Ramses needs to get bigger. With the Battle Fury online, he's looking for a BKB. He would like to not fight with the BKB. Top lane, Bop will go down, get caught again by Roger. It's just the gank squad looking for him everywhere. There's actually a black hole used to catch him out there. No blink reveals, so they just walked up. Lyle and Roger smoking. Tsuneko sort of baiting on the lane at the moment. Bale is ready on the Earth Spirit, amping up a little bit of magic damage. Mysticism. They want to take this tier 2. They're setting up for it. They might just bait these Enchantress creeps and wait to see who turns up. Ramses is here. They know he's under the cover of the blur. Roll comes through the trees. Will miss. TPs, 3 of them coming out. To the side of outsiders. GPK is here. Wants to line up a good Sonic Wave, but doesn't want to just burn it on Lyle. It's going to be hard. With the Hex, Tombstone down, all are healed. Comes out. It's not. Oh, it does keep Lyle alive. He's actually alive inside of the wards. Tombstone is killed. Aegis is expended, and he will come back. DM immediately comes through with the BKB, stuns him out. Sonic Wave with the Pulverize. I think they can get this DP twice. The timing of Outsiders, they knew exactly when to fight. So Tsuneko is going to get caught in the trees as well. And just Outsiders biding their time, even against the Aegis. They just waited and waited and waited until they had a good moment. Roger rolling with a onslaughted Primal Beast chasing behind. Roger just playing a little bit of tag here. Runs back in, wants to put that sentry back down on the blocks. Oh, GPA almost blocks the roll, trying to walk across in front of him. But Roger at the moment is just playing with him. With this level 4 roll, he's just rolling around. And I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. Come see me. Noticed, links in, gets down the Midnight Pulse. Midnight Pulse is a lot of damage. DM tries to get away with the uproar, slowing him down. It might be enough, but I seriously doubt it. The roll will connect through. Dark will be there with the last right click. And that will be the end of the Primal Beast. GPK looking to get towards his own BKB, although is he going to go for the Aghanims first? He has the point booster with the Ogre Axe, so could splinter either way at this point. Not sure exactly what he's going to go for. I think with the pressure coming out from BetBoom, he certainly probably wants that BKB as fast as possible. Same as the PA. Yamich wants to get a Blink. Blink Hex, one of the most powerful combos in the game. Just completely locking someone down. We want to get a BKB after that as well, and just get that BKB shackle. 5-second BKB duration. It's like a one-man black hole you can get going off on that Shadow Shaman. BKB being worked on for Enigma as well. Now, are there ways to cancel this BKB black hole? I'm looking at the draft of Outsiders, and at the moment, I'm not seeing really any way to do it. Of course, the Pulverize, it sort of feels like it should go through Magic Immunity, but it actually doesn't. Doesn't pierce the spell immunity on the Pulverize. So, if this BKB gets off, I mean, the only solution I could possibly see at some point in the future is maybe a Bash Dagger. You know, a Dagger being thrown and getting the Bash proc on the Stifling Dagger from a PA, but it's going to be BKB and a Deso, so no Bash are coming anytime soon. So this BKB Blink Black Hole will be the king of the field while it is active. Lyle just BKB being procced from the bottle. Does expire after a couple of minutes and will be automatically used. It does look like GPK commits into the Aghanim Scepter. So, this is a new... Might just talk about the new Aghanim Scepter in a moment. Like, both teams are backing off for the time. So, the new Aghanim Scepter, Shadow Strike, has increased initial damage and is applied to all enemies in an AoE around the target. When it ends or is reapplied to an enemy hero, the target emits a scream of pain, hitting any nearby enemies. So it's an upgrade to the Shadow Strike, which has a little bit of scream of pain damage as well. So it used to be the reduced cooldown and increased damage on the Sonic Wave, but no more is that the Aghanim's upgrade for the clock. Instead, you get an additional 200 damage at level 25. Lal completed with the Chiron Sand. Wants to be very tanky, but also deal out the damage. Level 2 in the Silence. This Silence, if it hits, it's a 6-second Silence. It lasts a long time. 12-second cooldown, so it's 50% uptime potentially on this Silence. In a late game kite situation against a PA, that Silence is going to become very, very important if the PA doesn't have a way to dispel it after the BKB wears out. Smoke comes out. They do seize the Curry on the high ground. In fact, they're I mean, Outsiders are just extremely happy with them catching it. GPK jumps in with the Aghanims. DMs, BKB gets in with the Pulverize. Big Sonic Wave catching on 3. Tombstone up on the high ground. Dahax committing to try and kill it. They will eventually get it down. Ramses in with the BKB on the backline. Takes out Enigma. But the Troll's hitting him. Ramses will fall to the damage of Dahak. And Dakota, you're in the wrong neighborhood. He will get sliced down to the axes of Dahak as well. DM will onslaught back up to the high ground. And meanwhile, over in the trees, the Exorcism will get it. And an ultra kill. Bilal, if you ignore this Death Prophet and the ghosts get to go to work, you can't ignore a Death Prophet in a fight. That's Dota 101. Now the Enigma did use a black hole in the middle of that there. I think it was cancelled pretty quickly, but it is on cooldown, so a small blessing for Outsiders, despite losing the fight and losing the tower. Buyback, actually dieback on the Undying as well. So really 5 deaths on the side of Outsiders for just the 2 on BetBoom. That wasn't even with an Aegis. 7k net worth lead now over to BetBoom. We have a look at the graphs. We can see it is starting to spiral down after that fight. So items and XP flowing the way of BetBoom. And they will start to increase on this lead. Like when you see the Huck just taking the Ancients of Outsiders, those Ancients were earmarked for Ramses. No more will he be getting them. You know, Dota's a game where if you can, there's your side of the map and there's the enemy side of the map. If you can deny the enemy's farm, even if you're not farming your own side, that means you're still getting a net worth lead. 3-man smoke damage leading forward, no blink dagger. In goes Ramses with the BKB. They're trying to get onto this Death Prophet and burst him down, but they can't do it. They don't enough damage. The Siphons come out and he just heals up. Mass Serpent Wards were committed. Seneko with the mech, not even needing to use the Hand of God, just held onto it. Tombstone will die on this high ground as well, so that's Tombstone plus wards. Wards for 106, Tombstone for almost another minute. BKB committed on Ramses, it's starting to wear down to 7 seconds. This is what happens as a PA if you have to fight too early before you get that next item. They're sort of almost holding even in these fights, but they're not actually winning them. And if this BKB duration gets down to 6 seconds and you haven't got good value out of it, by having that extra damage item when you start using it, the PA will suffer. Roshan is going down with the Vlads, or the Wraith Pact, or Dahak will just slice through this Roshan. There is a shard. Shard will be picked up by the PA, so we now have the Fear. And we get Siphon for 3 seconds consecutively, 1.5 seconds of Fear, and probably a very important element to this shard as well is you get an additional charge. So 5 charges now on the Spirit Siphon for this Lal Death Prophet. Certainly going to be using all of those in the fight to sustain and threaten the enemies or the heroes of Outsiders. Shiva's Guard completed. The items are just really starting to roll in for this Death Prophet. Top of the net worth chart, almost 15,000 gold. And while BetBoom are farming the entire map, Outsiders are now just resorting to hiding in the bottom. And did they even ping it? Are they saying they're hiding down the bottom? There was a ping there for a moment. I think it actually came out from Yamich. So Ramses is going to go and cut the next wave, seeing that the push is coming. And it's coming hard. There's a black hole ready. There's an exorcism. Roger has all his stones. Seneko, 20 locket charges plus all the heals. And Dahak has an Aegis to come hit this tower with. Creeps will get up there as well. Apply the pressure. Ancient Drake is available. I think that's the... Exorcism is popped. With all the Eidolons on the high ground, there's no way this Rax is actually standing. I think they've made the call maybe not even to defend it. Yeah, Roger is just scouting out the tree, seeing if anyone's hiding here looking for a go, but there's no one around. Lal, they're just going to go mid lane as well. Well, Outsiders, if you don't want to defend, then we'll just go again. Glyph, secondary, is used. Roger is still sitting in this bottom lane. He wants to try and get an initiation. Silence comes out. Here's a heal from the Soul Rip. really enough at this point. The level 4 tombstone has been maxed. The majority of BetBoom will make their way out, with Roger just still down in the tree line. He has got a TP. He does have a TP. So just maybe waiting to cut a creep wave. No, he will TP back top now and push out this top wave. Give himself probably towards that BKB. He's only 600 gold or so away. GPK close to his BKB, 1400 gold. He should farm that up reasonably quickly if he gets a little bit of space. Refresher, DM working towards, wants to have the double pulverized, double BKB. Have to be a little bit careful with mana cost now with refreshers and BKBs. There's extra 50 bits of mana on the BKB, extra 50 mana on the refresher. Can add up. 4-man smoke coming out from BetBoom. The Huck leading the way. Will pop the smoke on the Ramses PA. Deso is ready. So Ramses now does have the potential to burst through maybe a support and get a numbers advantage in these fights. DM will just charge away. Wants nothing to do with this top lane. Having 2 spells to get through trees really does help out as this primal beast. The onslaught plus the trample just running on through.
Radiant are scanning.
Poor Zakota, 3k net worth, 30 minutes in. He's averaging about 1,000 gold per 10 minutes, so certainly not where that Undying wants to be. Not going to have any items coming his way, but the Huck, he's back on the high ground. The creeps are coming in. The Drake is here as well, and it looks as if they're going to continue to push this Rax. The defense isn't currently coming in. The backline of BetBoom is waiting. Exorcism is popped. Yamich, Sakota, the 2 supports, they're the only ones home. Everyone else is away trying to farm up something to help them try and take this fight. The Huck will get a dagger on him, but it's not really going to do anything. Root comes out, Sonic Wave just to really save himself. BKB on nose, Black Hole catching the Quap, and he will go down. Buyback is available. GPK comes back into the fight with no Black Hole and no refresher. Ramses will get the damage out of the troll potentially. The Hex follow-up is there, and there's the Aegis. 1 life is down. Tombstone pop in the back line. They have isolated Dahak, but he's got BKB, plus his ultimate still available. Ramsey's trying to go to work on the back line. Sineko, if you can catch him. This Chen needs to die. Will go. Scream of Pain will get him in the end. PA will die from the hits of Dahak. I believe that's an MKB, so he's really hitting hard. Long range Shackle, Yamich trying to control, and they actually come in with DM with the trample and the onslaught. They do take the fight. It costs them some resources, but it was an Aegis. Buyback on GPK, so that one won't be available. It was only the 3 kills in the end, so 2 for 3, 3 for 3, or 2 for 3 rather, plus a buyback on Outsiders, and Aegis used. Death Prophet has an E-Blade. Probably wants to maybe even save himself from those crits from the PA, or save an ally. At the moment, the PA is the one who's really dealing the damage. Assuming Primal Beast's trample isn't there, dealing out the DPS himself. That was the fresh picked up refresher orb for DM. So the double pulverize in the fight, the double onslaught and trample really did turn around on that troll. I don't think Dahak expected the second round of spells coming out from DM. They're getting a little bit of early value from that refresher orb. 3-man smoke. Dakota, Yamich, and Ramses are moving. Ramses close to a basher. He'd love to get it before the next fight breaks out. Moving through the jungle. Might want to connect with DM on this top lane. Maybe even bait him here. The whole squad of BetBoom is moving. Noticed has no black hole. In they go with the Hex and the BKB. Shen, can they get the target off? No, he's going to heal. Gets off all the healed, and down goes PA and the Shaman. Tombstone won't be enough as Undying falls, and they need to get out. Oh, they catch GPK. He's got no buyback. Pops the BKB. Sonic Wave up onto the high ground, but it's not enough. DM's in there, but it's going to be a 5-man wipe. And GG is called. BetBoom will take game 1 of this grand final, the TI11 qualifiers for Eastern Europe.